What's up, YouTube? So I just got my order in. Purchased another piece of equipment here for the sump area. Purchased the dual reactor for GFO and carbon. I'm going to be running it with this MJ1200. I also purchased these filters here for the MJ to prevent any sediments from going into the pump and clogging up the reactors. Also purchased the half a gallon of the ROX carbon and the 2 pounds of the GFO. Now, currently I don't know what my phosphates are. I will be getting one of the Hanna checkers to check for phosphate. I'm going to be running it anyways along with the carbon, just to kind of start getting my water polished and ready for when I start putting coral in there. Now, I don't know where still don't know where exactly I'm going to be installing it. I'm probably going to be thinking of probably putting it here in the front or there through the side. Now, also to save me some cabinet space, if there's any space behind the stand, I'll probably install it in the back wall there, and then just run the hoses through the gap there into the last chamber here. So we'll see where I decide to install it. Let's go ahead and start getting the media into the reactors and get the installation process started. Okay, so we are getting ready to put in the media. Now at bulkresupply.com there is a reef calculator that you can use, where pretty much you just enter the volume of water that your system is working with, and it will give you an approximate amount of media that you can start out with. Now here in the first reactor we're going to be placing the GFO. I'm going to start out with approximately 1.5 cups of GFO. Now the nice thing about these reactors, in the future when you need to change your media, all you have to do is just unscrew the reactor, take out here the middle portion that holds your media, just pretty much just dump out the media and replace it with new one. Or you can also purchase an extra pair of these and just have them ready with media, and all you have to do is just swap them out. Now for the GFO, we want our GFO tumbling so it doesn't solidify into one big block of media. So we're not going to be using these sponges here. I'll probably just use one of the sponges here at the top to hold any fine dust that the GFO might release. Now in the second reactor, we're going to be placing in our carbon. I'm going to be starting out with approximately 1 cup of carbon. Now the carbon, we don't want our media tumbling, so we will be using these sponges here. Now the reactor has an upward water flow. The water flow comes in through the bottom and goes up the top. So the media would be safest here at the top. So you want to kind of eyeball in for the amount of media that you're going to be putting in for the carbon. And pretty much we'll just place one sponge here and then drop your media in, and the other sponge here at the top. And then that way we pack the media up at the top to prevent it from tumbling. So let's go ahead and get the media in here and finish the rest of the installation. Alright, so the media is in place. We went ahead and screwed the reactors back on. I also went ahead and installed the MJ1200 using this 1/2 inch push connect. We put the sponge filter here in the MJ as well to prevent any debris from going into the reactors and clogging it. We have our line going in. We also installed the ball valve to control the water flow going into the reactor. Remember, we don't want the GFO tumbling all over the place. We just barely want the media tumbling. The carbon, we don't want the carbon tumbling, so we packed it up at the top using the 2 sponges as water flow goes up and then out the return line. Now once we install the reactor in the cabinet, I'm probably going to have to cut some of the tubing out. Before we do that, let's go ahead and rinse out the media. So that way we don't want any of the dusty fines introduced into the main display tank. Alright guys, so let's go ahead and rinse the media out. So here in the black bucket I have about 3 gallons of RODI water. Now initially when you start rinsing out your media, just go ahead and you want to at least close your valve halfway. You don't want the water flow going in there and blasting your media. Now the only reason why you see the GFO chamber there full of water is because I already rinsed out my GFO. Now you can rinse both medias out at the same time, but in this case, because it's a dual reactor, I didn't want the dust and the fines from the GFO affecting my carbon. So the way I rinsed out the GFO was I unscrewed this canister here, took it out, and then pretty much just put my bucket under here, ran the pump, and then rinsed out my GFO that way. So now I went ahead and screwed back on the carbon so we can rinse out the carbon that way. The initial dust from the GFO doesn't go into the carbon and affects the carbon. I mean, it doesn't really matter. You can go ahead and rinse both media at the same time, but for me, I think I just did it that way because I didn't want anything affecting the carbon. So now another thing you want to make sure you do is these push connects. You want to make sure the tube is well in there, because it happened to me. I thought the tube was well in there, and when I turned the pump on, there was water spraying everywhere. So you want to make sure the tube is well pushed in there into the push connects. So let's go ahead and drop the pump in. Now you can run the water through the reactor until it starts coming out clear. The water starts coming out clear. Me personally, I like running at least a gallon of water per reactor. So I'll be running 2 gallons of RDI water through the reactor just to make sure that the media is nice and rinsed. So let's go ahead and get it connected here. So it's starting. As you can see there, the chamber for the carbon is starting to get filled up with water. Now let's go ahead and check out the GFO. Now that's the way you want your media tumbling, just barely tumbling, probably a little bit less. But what you really want to do is just have the media in there moving so it doesn't clump up into one big piece. But as you can see, I think that's a pretty good flow, or probably a little bit less. Chamber here is filled up already, so water's starting to come out. As you can see, the initial water coming out, it's already you can see the black dust. Okay, so it's pretty quick. You can see that the water is already coming out clear. But I'm still going to go ahead and let it run with a little bit more water. And that's it, guys. Then we'll go ahead and get it installed inside the cabinet. Okay, so I've decided to install my reactors here on the side of the sump. I also went ahead and built this little stand here for the reactors made out of egg crate. The reactors, I placed them in a way where the GFO was facing outward, so that way we can easily keep an eye on the GFO, make sure that the media is tumbling. The tubing, we went ahead and cut it down to size. I also purchased an additional pair of the 90 push connect fittings, so that way I was able to run the tubing straight down into the sump. It makes it look a lot neater. My adjustable flow valve there, I was able to cut the tubing close enough so I was able to install it here at the top instead of having it here inside of the sump. Makes it a lot easier to have it out of the sump for adjustments. in case I need to adjust the flow. The MaxiJet, I also went ahead and installed the attachment that it came with the suction cups. So I went ahead and attached it there to the wall instead of just leaving it there at the bottom of the sump. Helps with the vibration and reducing the noise. As you can see also here at the top, none of the tubings or the fittings are touching the sump, also to avoid any additional rattling or noise. And now that bracket that comes here on the top, I'll probably be removing that. Alright guys, so that's one step closer to finishing the build. Let me know if the video was helpful. Hit that like if the video was helpful. If you guys want to keep on seeing the progress of the build, go ahead and subscribe. Thank you for watching.